Kim K and Kanye making a baby.
Dating do's and don'ts for 2013.
And we've got the pulse on infidelity and if it can be overcome.
On this episode of
The Game Over Show.
And welcome back. This is the premiere episode of
Season 2
of The Game Over Show. I'm Charles J. Orlando.
And I'm Lisa Stedman. Hey, how was your hiatus, sir?
You know, it was really nice. It was really nice. We got some writing done, spent some time with the family. And you?
Spent a lot of time with the hubs. It was good.
Oh, wow.
That's all I'm going to say, people. Game on.
And send your wet naps, too. So
Do not use wet naps.
we've got a really, really packed show, so we should get jumping right away.
We should get
here.
into what's hot.
And we appreciate everybody. Well, we just want to appreciate everybody who's starting to follow us on Twitter and on Facebook.
I'm clapping. It's my first official clap of Season 2. Thank you for everyone who's following us on Twitter and Facebook.
Definitely. You can find us at facebook.com/thegameovershow. Mm-hmm. And a lot of questions have been coming in, advice requests.
Yeah.
We're going to get to all those, but what are we starting with?
We're starting with what's hot.
And what is hot?
Oh man, we missed a whole bunch of hot shit over the break.
Yeah, but we're going to make up for it with this complete train wreck. Like,
would we be speaking of the fetus in Kim Kardashian's uterus? That somehow arrived there courtesy of Kanye?
Well, I was going to say there's like multiple young guys she's been sleeping with, so it's been a lot of... Never mind. But anyway...
A lot of sperm, is that what you're saying?
Well, something. You know, Kim, please, if you could please find your self-esteem that isn't inside your mother's, like, you know, to-do list for you, we'd really appreciate it.
You know, for me, it's not so much the self-esteem with her mother, it's the self-esteem with man to man to man. This is an infamous man hopper, and I don't think a baby's going to slow her down at all. I already see, like, the custody battle in, like, a year and a half.
Well, and she's not even going to be divorced from Chris Humphries by the time she...
Now, I did some research to find out what the holdup is because the divorce is taking longer than the marriage.
And what's happening?
He wants it annulled based on fraud, which I say more power to you, Chris Humphries, because that was fraud.
I totally agree. Are you suing her mother? I just want to know, because that's where the $18 million went, right? For the $10 million wedding. Nothing like pimping out for profit, right?
Oh my God, she pulled a Star Jones with that wedding registry.
Yeah, you know, just a disaster.
But let's move on from that disaster to another celebrity disaster.
And that is?
The Biebs, smoking a little doobie. Right after that, paparazzi was killed. Now, I understand Bieber wasn't in the car.
And we're sorry for that person's family. Like, we're not talking smack about the death. But Justin Bieber, we're talking about.
Come on, dude. Like, within 24 hours, he was smoking it up in some hotel room and allegedly hooking up with some other girls, which I thought he was still with.
I thought he was trying
Selena.
to get back with, he was trying to get back with Selena Gomez.
Well, you know what? I have a game over for Miss Selena Gomez. Game over on hooking back up with the Biebs. Be done already. You know he's not the one.
See, but that goes across the board for Hollywood, no? I mean, you get all these exes who revisit. I mean, we haven't even talked about Rihanna in a while. Game
over on that biatch.
We're not going to.
I can't even go there today.
We're not even gonna.
I cannot go there.
But there's so many, like, you revisit a broken relationship. I mean, it's broken, right?
Again and again. And I get it. The sex is hot because it's like, you know what you're getting, but it's a little naughty. It's a little off limits, so it's even hotter.
You know, are you, like,
sexier.
following these people, like, with a video camera?
No, but I've been there, and it is hot having sex with your ex. But I say game over to it because it only leads to you crying on the bathroom floor one too many times and eating way too much Haagen-Dazs because, hello, that's how I got these thighs. All right, moving on.
Well, I want to get one last thing out. So just a message to Taylor Swift. Please don't become Taylor Swift Kardashian. Please. Otherwise, we're going to talk about your ass on here, too.
Are you saying she's a famous man hopper, too?
Well, I'm saying she's a man hopper of famous men. I don't know if she's hopping famous.
And, you know, but what I like the difference is at least she has talent. So she's writing songs about it. What's Kim Kardashian doing? She's just
She has no talent.
Her vagina,
Have you seen... Oh, no, but have you seen the porn that she did with Ray J?
I have not. I've seen still shots, and all I know is Ray J was packing.
Oh, which is great and good for you, bro. Like, tie that shit to the right. We're golden. Okay. But
we were talking earlier about how we like three-legged men, so, you know, Ray J, you're
when
right
you say
there.
we, you mean you, because I don't like men of
Producer
any,
Fiona
of
and
any
I.
feet. Right. But Kim, you just look like the deadest lay. I'm sorry. This is live, right? I'm seriously
lay.
like, I don't understand.
I don't think
redeeming
I've
qualities.
ever heard that phrase before. The deadest lay. All right,
Completely.
I think I want to move on.
We warned
Yeah,
everybody
okay.
we were coming crazy 2013.
Woo woo! And
We
I'm
warned
clapping
you.
again, mother effer. All right, can we move on to?
You know, I did some research and I want to talk. Right now, we're going to the Pulse.
Yeah.
So, over the break.
Thank you, producer Fiona. You are rocking it today.
Yeah, and welcome back to the entire team. And we even have some in-studio
guests.
audience today, right?
Yeah, Miss Dorothy
Very nice.
Inez will be telling you about her in a little bit.
Well, I put out a request for information over the break, right? Because
A request for information.
everybody during the
Is that like a
holidays.
survey, Charles?
It is like a survey.
Okay, he did a
right?
survey.
Say it in
ladies.
French, right? Survey.
Oh,
So
Chante.
whatever, I'm full of shit. So, but everybody
I'm a
was on.
francophile, so I'm not.
Everybody was online over the break, right?
Everyone but me.
Well, you did it
Digital
right.
detox. Woo woo.
So I wanted to find out a little bit more about what people are thinking around the act of infidelity, right?
Okay. So in relationships, what people are thinking. Okay.
Can an act of infidelity be overcome?
Oh.
Right. And there's
I
a
know
lot of
where I
people.
stand on this. Okay.
Well, and we'll talk about some of the other information that we got, but 1,000 respondents over a couple of days.
Cool.
72% said no.
And were those mostly women?
It
Or
was mostly women.
Okay.
It was about a 60-40 split.
Okay.
But no, cheating is the ultimate betrayal.
I agree.
Now, but yes and no. So this is where love gets murky, right?
Okay.
And even David Letterman said this too.
Yes. So
So-
I love this. I was watching the David Letterman interview with Oprah last night. And he actually said, and I loved this perspective because I'm a big believer that game over when there's infidelity.
Well, it's the ultimate betrayal, right?
It is, and I don't know how you ever bounce back from that. But he said, and I really appreciate this perspective, that his marriage got strengthened by the infidelity. And he said every day he's working to try and become the man that he thought he was
Right.
before the infidelity. So he hasn't forgiven himself. She's forgiven him, which I say, his wife's name is Regina. I say really kudos to you for forgiving him. I don't know how. I really respect that she was able to
Well,
forgive him.
I can give you some color around that.
Okay.
So when you're in a long-term relationship, right, you have a combination of romance and friendship.
yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
So when you betray in that way, you're not only betraying the romantic side of your relationship, you're betraying the friendship side of what you had too.
And that's, I think, the harder part.
Well, and it is the harder part, but so as we've talked about multiple
Yeah.
times, infidelity is a symptom of a breakdown that's already happened.
Yes.
So when it all comes out into light, everybody now either has a choice. You can either talk honestly and completely about everything that's transpired and what led to the breakdown, or you can instantly part ways. Now, where David Letterman's coming from, I think, is that it opened up his marriage in a completely different way, where it's like, we have been disconnected for X amount of years.
Yeah. He
and-
had to go
yeah.
deeper. He had to be more real, he said. And he had to, and I love this perspective. He said, I had to start being the man I thought I was, and I was pretending to be.
Exactly.
Which I really appreciate. But I just think this is a tough one. So
Well, I'm always a proponent of early in a relationship, you get a bunch of cheating, you're fired. You're out.
Game over.
That's it. Complete
Done.
game over. But it gets a little bit grayer when you start talking about long-term relationships.
Yeah.
And it does.
So there's two different things here, because cheating like once is different than an ongoing affair.
Well, yeah, and it depends on why, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, you end up with somebody who's completely selfish and all they care about is getting theirs, and they don't give a shit about you.
Game over.
Game over. But you end up with someone who's missing critical things in the relationship, and they go externally
Yeah.
for whatever their reasons. That's a whole different thing. So
And
at least to
that
discuss.
relationship, you're saying, can be saved if both people are willing to work on it and look
Yes.
at the issues that led
That
to the
led
infidelity.
to the infidelity, right?
Man, that's a tough one. I say kudos to everyone who has been through that and is working through it, because it's so much. I think it's actually easier to say game over than let's work through this.
It's much easier because you just get through it, right?
Yeah.
But we want to know your perspective. Please
Yeah.
head over to facebook.com/thegameovershow. And if you're one of the 72 that said no way, hell no, cheating's a
Hell
game
no.
over, we want to know.
Yeah.
If you're one of the other percentages, then we want to, because there were other answers that came through that.
Oh, okay.
So if you're
We'd
one of
love
the
to hear
28,
that too.
we want to know.
Hey, by the way, can I just give a little plug for our fabulous new website?
I think we should.
I love our new website. I'm clapping again.
We went through an entire rebrand over the holidays,
did.
right? From
We
season
did.
1 to season 2. You can think about us like the 8th grader that was like dog ugly before summer vacation, and then they came back as a freshman, and they were hot.
I don't resemble that at all. You might. But
I was that
I
eighth
was
grader.
fucking fabulous before. I'm just even more fabulous now.
I agree.
But
and thank you for bringing up bullshit, because I was that 8th grader. Go to commercial.
Needs a hug. So we got to talk about our sponsor today.
Well, and we do. But before we get to her,
Yes.
we got to give them the URL. So great website.
Yes. Great website.
TheGameOverShow.com.
Yep.
Head over there.
Check out our new photos, our new website. We've got lots of great stuff there. We want to support you, and so there's a blog, there's past episodes, you can do all
Right.
kinds of cool stuff.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, great sponsor today. You know, and we have a living model. I'm going to point her out Vanna White style, right? So Vanna points, and then she presents, right? All right. So who is our sponsor today?
Well, first of all, if you think I look fabulous today, it takes a village to make this shit happen, right? So our sponsor today, she's actually in studio. Miss Dorothy Inez is sitting over there. Dorothy Inez, the Minister of Beauty. And Dorothy Inez does fabulous makeup for women all over the world. And it's not just makeup, it's self-esteem, it's confidence, it's inner and outer beauty. And she helps you rock that inner beauty on the outside. So, definitely check her out. She's amazing. Dorothy Inez, what's your website?
www.dorothyinez.com.
And it's on your screen now. It should be.
Awesome. Cool. Yes, please check her out. She is fabulous, and she was in studio today, and we appreciate you so much. Yay!
And she looks great. She
Thank
absolutely
you.
looks great.
Yes, thank you.
For sure.
Thank
We're
you.
going to do my makeup next time, except we're going to give Lisa 6 shots of tequila, and she's going to do my makeup.
Oh, yes! And you know, to get Charles drunk, you really only need half a shot of tequila. Trust me.
I'm a cheap drunk. And you know what? That's what she said. I'm going to say something different, and that brings us to He said, she said. So today's topic, I think, is really timely, and it's perfect
you?
for our... I do.
I'm so glad you think so. I think so too.
And that's our show. Thanks.
Well, it's 2013.
And it is a great observation.
Anyways, people, it's 2013, and if you are single and ready to mingle and ready to change what's happening in your love life and change the results you're getting, mix it up.
It's time to start talking about dating do's and don'ts for
Yep.
the new year, right?
Yep.
Because this is a new year. So you had something really profound pre-show that you were talking about around...
You heard it here first, people.
Well, there is sometimes, right? No, we were talking about missed opportunities.
Yes.
So check this out.
Yeah. So missed opportunities are my biggest pet peeve in life. And as when I was single, I still remember the time that I made eyes with a cutie at Starbucks, and we were looking at each other, we were checking each other out, and then we parted ways and never said a word. And I remember turning around and looking out the window, and he was still checking me out as he walked away. And I was like, missed opportunity, I will never do that again.
Right.
So
your mantra for this year, or the mantra that we're passing off
be
to our...
done with missed opportunities and take advantage of those. Like, sometimes it's scary because we don't want to be rejected, but you've got to be in it to win it. And game over is all about being game on, too.
Absolutely.
So be willing to make the first move, share a smile, make eye contact, get out of your normal routine. Because if you want to get a different result, you got to do something different.
Well, sure. And, you know, later on in life, people rarely regret the decisions that they make. They usually regret the decisions they didn't make.
Oh, look at him getting all wise, too. Solid.
No, but it's real, right? I mean, you don't think about the things that you made mistakes on because mistakes are part of life, and failure is the best educator.
Absolutely.
But
you're one step closer to success.
Oh, sure. But if you don't make the move, you will always wonder what if, and that is my biggest pet peeve.
Ooh, I like that.
I do not like saying what if. And we're saying the same thing.
Basically.
What if is like the worst 2 words on the planet.
So this specifically, if we're talking about missed opportunity, I want to really encourage everybody who's online dating, do more than just online dating. Online dating is great. It really shows you that there are singles everywhere, and you're not the only one, because sometimes we can feel that way. But get out and look cute every day so that when you go to the grocery store, when you're filling up your car with gas, like only safe places, not in dark parking garages, that you are really making yourself available to smile, make eye contact, make conversation, and create a face-to-face encounter. Those are just as important.
Well, you're bringing up a really important point, and that is that online dating can only start the process of introduction, but it doesn't actually do anything to build rapport in a relationship. I mean, you're short-circuiting the process because the person that you're now involved with in an online way, you don't have any of the subtle body language cues.
I love you always talk about that, how the body language is so important. And it's true. In online, everybody can look great, but it's then you meet them in person, they won't make eye contact or
or they have behavioral stuff, right? And you're not picking up on the chemistry. But there's no chemistry because it's all ones and zeros. So you can use online dating as an introduction.
I love chemistry.
But then you gotta get involved in person and take it out there. So, but that's really about expectations, right? Like, what do you want from your dating experience?
We'll get really clear about what you want to create in 2013.
Right.
So everybody write down what you want to create in your love life.
Only write it or say it out loud?
Oh, you know I like to say it out loud. Write it down first, then say it out loud.
Right. Because it manifests it out to the universe.
And don't just write it down and say it out loud today. Repeat it every day, because if you're looking to bring this in, it's not a one-time thing. You got to keep doing it.
So let's get into some of the specifics that a lot of people are asking about and that they're writing in about.
Awesome.
So who asks who out?
Oh. God, that's a great question. Well, it's 2013, so the idea that only men asking women out is a little outdated. Now, you're really into chivalry, so you might disagree with me here.
Well, I'm into modern day chivalry, right? Meaning that, so chivalry has its roots in like old, antiquated, misogynistic stuff, right? Boo to inequality. But I'm talking about gentlemanly conduct, right?
Yeah.
So that counts. But from my standpoint, like, there's nothing better, in my opinion, than a guy who leads the courtship process. You know?
Right, ladies? We love that.
Well, yeah, and any woman likes it. A woman who's a massive high-tech executive all the way out to the housewife who's newly divorced. Like, women want to be courted because that's what we do as a species. And I think equality has really screwed stuff up to where men are sitting back waiting for these women to enter the courtship process. I think they should at some level.
Yeah.
But where's this guy bringing his A game? Where is it?
I think it's really confusing for men at this point, because women, we've evolved, and the feminist movement really allowed us to be where we are in 2013 with more women senators than ever before. It's really an exciting time to be a woman, but men haven't gotten the memo about what that means for them.
Right.
So, yes, men, please still ask us out. Please still pursue us. And here's one thing that we ask you not to do. Don't do everything by text message.
Oh my God, right?
Come on!
It's really impersonal. It's really impersonal.
It so says, and I'm a big fan of text message for a lot of things, but it so says I have put no time or thought or care into this, and let me just see if you're available tomorrow night.
Right.
Game over.
Text message, so we're back to expectations, right? Great for a booty call, bad for anything else.
Yes, and this is important for men, because women, I think, have gotten this down, but I think men haven't gotten that memo either.
So who pays?
You know, I have challenges with this one, because I think that men and women are really equal when it comes to paying. If we make the same money, I think it should be very equal.
Even at the beginning of the dating process?
Yeah.
Well, I would agree.
What?
So, at the beginning of dating... Well, at the beginning of dating, everybody's trying to feel things out.
Yeah.
Right? So... It depends on what your expectations are, but you know, if you're going for coffee and you want to keep everything even keel, then do that. If you're going to dinner, then you can split. But as things start getting established, you know, early on, I mean, who's asking who out? If she asks him out, that's cool. I would be totally flattered if I were paid for. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Not for any other reason other than my own honor. That's
a mixed message right there.
It is. It's very confusing. confusing, right? Like,
money I think is so confusing in relationships, and the way I always look at it is be willing to be fair about it. So like the Hubs took me out to dinner on our first date, and then we went to like a lounge to listen to music, and I bought drinks because that felt really appropriate.
of
to
course
me.
she did. Going on.
You know how I like to take advantage of men when they drink. Oh, did I say that out loud? But I mean, this one is a gray area for me. I gotta say,
it is a gray area, which is a really good time for us to say, like, talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Establish your own set of rules and boundaries, and then talk about it with who you're dating.
Yes, and so setting up the expectations so one of you isn't disappointed or one of you doesn't show up and get pissed off. Like this is the kind of thing that money and relationships can be really challenging, and the more you talk about it, it's so important. And the one thing I will say to the women out there, don't use a man for his money. And for the men out there, if you pay, it is not a sign that it's okay to like take advantage of her. That's
no
all.
doubt. Paying for dinner does not equate to you entering the bedroom and getting what you want. That's not the way it works. And guys, please bring your A game. Please.
What does that mean?
Like, put in the effort into the date.
You
plan
like
it.
To plan.
Well, yeah,
I like
have
that
a plan.
You. Yep.
Or you're going to sit around on your second date because you met for coffee on the first one, and you're going to get what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Oh,
what are you in the mood for?
Hate
no, and no. I'll say it in Spanish. No. Okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh my God. All right.
Charles,
so
you are cracking up producer Fiona and Dorothy Inez today. I saw them giggling at each other. He likes all the ladies in the room. Oh. You're good with estrogen, and my is way better than yours.
It is. I'm sorry about that. And I guess my estrogen level is way up. I do have one more question for you. It's my time of the month. So
we're not synced up.
Yeah, well, not anymore because we had our hiatus, right? We'll get back. We'll get back.
Our cycles will sync.
What is too soon for sex when dating?
Oh, too soon for sex is all. Sex always happens too soon.
You heard it here first.
No, someone said like the 8th date, and I'm like, you have to count. I think.
So if you're in the mood on the 7th date, it's like, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Next time.
I really feel like it's about creating emotional intimacy first, and you can't gauge that in a number of dates, but take your time. Do not rush into a physical relationship because the emotional relationship will never catch up.
Did you see how she said that to me just now? She said, take your time. Holy shit, I didn't mean to even do that. Oh my God. So I totally agree with you, right? But
I totally agree with you.
I totally agree with you. But it's really about expectations. So some people want a little bit freer.
I think our new drinking game is Charles saying it's really about expectations.
When it comes to dating
right now.
When it comes to dating, it really is about your own expectations.
Absolutely.
What if you're? So you said
Setting
emotional
them
engagement,
and communicating them.
but you said emotional
Intimacy.
Intimacy.
Yeah.
And but if you're only looking for a great time and you're not looking for any hang-ups, that may not be the priority.
Well, then be clear about that and then jump into bed on date one.
As long as everybody's on the same page and
Yeah,
playing by the same rules.
You gotta
Totally.
communicate.
Yeah. So I'm always of the opinion that sex on the first date is bad. Like, wherever you put your mouth, a whole bunch of other people have put all kinds of stuff. Right?
Oh!
I just want to lay it out there.
Wow!
So, when you're comfortable with that and you know where it's been, then you're good. I guarantee it's not date 1. Date 8's looking pretty good now.
Oh!
Huh? So,
well, I always say wrap it up till you know for sure, but you should wait a while.
Well, the way I just put it, wrap it up with something that's steel belted, right? Like, that's not even going to work.
What was the,
Sorry,
it wasn't the dental dam, it was the tongue...
Tonguedom.
Tonguedom.
Google tonguedom. And while you're at it, Google merkin. What's a merkin? Yeah. Google it. We're going to talk about it tomorrow as the opening of the show.
I'm scared.
Google it, merkin. Merkin.
I think that's what you call cramps during ovulation.
Oh no, this is worse than that.
Okay.
This is worse than that. So, any final thoughts on dating for the new year?
Merkin.
That's the final thought. At the back half of the show, we always offer live advice.
Wow! It's already that time. I think this show's going on for an eternity, and I'm I'm speechless, Merkin. I'm scared.
We've got your street smart love advice. Lisa's still reeling from the whole Merkin thing, right? Google it.
I don't like being in the dark about these things, people.
And I'm saving it for tomorrow's show, but I'll tell her off the air. All right. Live advice. If you
I was gonna clap. Live advice.
If you have a question, where do they go?
Where do they go?
I've got her all merkined up. Facebook.com/The Game Over Show. Hit the message button.
Speechless, and that never happens.
Lisa and I will get it.
Speechless.
But
I look good. Thank you, Dorothy.
Absolutely. Dorothy, you did amazing work. And you look great anyway, though, right? But she just highlighted. You can't fake that, right? You have to highlight what's there, otherwise
it's
not.
a great canvas, right? Anyway, let's get to their advice. I'm more interested in that.
All right. If you have a question, head over to Facebook.com/The Game Over Show. Click the message button, and we'll get it live here, keeping you anonymous. All right?
Yeah, we always do that unless you want us to out you, but that's okay.
Right, we're not going to out you.
Okay.
This first one is from Dee.
Hi, Dee.
All right, and this is a little bit of like this massive triangle. So I'm going to summarize here. Dee's writing in for a relationship that she had with a guy for about a year.
Okay.
Okay. And then he broke up with her.
Okay.
And ended up going out with her best friend.
Oh, bad best friend, too,
Right.
by the way.
And it's been 5 years. Yeah, terrible best friend. Game over on your friendship.
Game over on friend and boyfriend.
Well, they were all friends, and then it all ended up this twisty little thing. Okay?
This happens a lot, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So it's been 5 years, and she can't think of anybody else but him.
5 years?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
now they've gotten back in touch.
Ooh.
And she doesn't
Dun,
know
dun, dun.
what to say. She doesn't know what to say.
About what?
Well, she thinks that he's alone, and she really wants to tell him that for all these years that she was there for him and that I want him so that I can take care of him.
Okay, I just highlight the 3 phrases that jumped out at me?
Well, let me just finish.
Okay.
The problem here is guts. What if he says no again? Dee, that's not your problem.
Your guts is the least of your problems. Pining for 5 years. You want to tell a man who ditched you for your best friend that you've been pining for him for 5 years so you can take care of him? I'm calling game over on all that shit, and I ask you to get some self-esteem and self-respect in 2013.
Definitely. It's not love when somebody takes you and dogs you out for any other reason, right? I mean, we talked earlier about infidelity making long-term relationships something you can work through.
Sure.
But at the beginning of your relationship, like, look, if David Letterman, just going back to the first part of our show,
Yeah.
If David Letterman had cheated with his wife's best friend, she wouldn't be so open to working shit out, right?
Yeah, but he cheated with his staffers. I still think that's pretty
Was she
game over,
friends
too.
with them?
I don't know. Well, yeah, she used to work on a show, so maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, so what I want to say, no. No.
Say it in Spanish.
No.
Done. Your problem is not that you don't have guts, Dee. The problem is that you're putting your entire self-esteem on a relationship that's been over for 5 years.
And you've put some guy who didn't deserve it up on a pedestal, and to that is a big fat effing game over.
Definitely. So this is done. In our opinion, you wrote in for advice. Our advice is
you asked
this
for
was
street
over.
smart advice. We're dishing it up straight.
5 years ago, it was already over. It's time for you to move on.
And there's plenty of other people out there, so don't despair. You just gotta knock this guy off the pedestal. He doesn't even deserve to be there.
Right.
Ladies, no more putting bad men on pedestals this year.
This one is from T. And this
Hi,
is
T.
for you.
Ooh.
How to break up with a man that you truly love.
Oh.
So, she loves him, but
That's hard.
he hurts you over and over again
Oh, boo.
by having another girlfriend.
What?
But he always tells her the truth, that he
Oh,
has
well,
another
that's good of
girlfriend.
him.
So, how does she break up with him? Sounds like he's in an open relationship and she doesn't want to be. That's what she's describing.
Well, does she want to break up with him? Because T, you should want to break up with him.
If there are plenty of relationships that are open relationships that work, okay?
If everybody's on the same page, absolutely.
But it doesn't sound like T's on the same page at all.
Well, I'm confused. Does she want to break up, or does she want him to break up with his other girlfriend?
Well, she's asking, how do you break up with somebody that you really love?
that
How do you
you
put your
truly
love to the
love.
side?
Okay.
But he's off doing whatever he's doing.
Well, first of all, you get a good idea of what love actually should look and feel like, and it's not sharing a man. Unless you're into that and you all agree to that.
Right.
But if you're saying this is no longer okay, then game over. And how do you break up? You break up. And
Right.
you mean it. And you don't take his calls, you don't answer his texts, you don't answer his emails, you block him on all those social media things. And you say, I love myself more than that effed up situation.
And I've gotten a lot of questions about this too. People write in and they say, how do I break up? How do I end an affair? How do I do all these things? And the answer is you make one phone call that lasts about 10 seconds.
Yeah,
and
doesn't need to be long.
This relationship is over. I'm sorry. I have no other information. I'm sorry if you're hurt, but I'm moving on. Click.
Yep.
And it's done.
Yep.
It's done.
One of the best breakups I ever had was with this great guy I was dating, not right for me, and I literally said over the phone when he called to make our next date, I said, I think this relationship has run its course. And he said, got it. Thank you. I really enjoyed our time. I said, me too. And I hung up and I was like, that was the easiest breakup I've ever had. Shit. So try that, ladies.
It doesn't have to be so dramatic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just do what you need to do.
Hash everything and get all hysterical.
So this next one. This
Yep.
is from Elle.
Hi, Elle.
Is it okay to be friends with an ex when you enter into a new relationship?
Ooh.
So here's the rest of the information.
Okay.
Just to clarify, the ex is more of a friend, but we became intimate 6 months after meeting, and we were both rebounding from a previous relationship, so it didn't work out. We're now really good friends, but that's it. He has a new girlfriend, and I'm also seeing somebody new. Okay. So I guess the
sounds
part that
healthy enough.
what annoys her is that the new guy she's seeing has been allowed to have female friends that he has been intimate with, but she's not supposed to talk to her ex.
So she's saying has been allowed. So that right there is a game over red flag for me. Who's allowing what? Like, if he's allowed, that must have been a conversation. And you not being allowed, I'm using air quotes, I don't know why, that tells me that there's been a conversation that it's not okay. So that's a double standard, and I say game over to all double standards.
All double standards are crap, and here's the reality, right? If you wanted to be with one of those exes, then you would be.
Yeah.
If it's unfortunately it's rare today that relationships end with exes in a good way. But if it did, and you're describing a situation where you were on the rebound, you were involved for 6 months, then it didn't work out, but you're still really close. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I'm really not a fan of being friends with your ex, but in this situation, it sounds like it works.
Well, yeah, nobody was betrayed during this time. Like they
were friends first. It's kind of a rebound thing.
So bottom line,
game over to the possessive
bullshit. Totally. Yeah, game over to all that. And you can be friends with anybody you want. How about that? So if he doesn't trust you, then he can tip the fuck out the door. Period. I said it.
Woo!
Sorry.
So here's my one caveat to that. You don't play with your friends' penises. Just saying.
Let me write that down. Okay. I've always been so confused about that, right? Like,
well, you spend so much time playing with your
How you doing, Brian? Is it today the day that I play with your penis? No, not today.
You don't have time for anyone else's penis.
This is from Kay.
Hi, Kay.
So, I know you're busy, but I want to get some advice. My fiance...
I always have time for you, Kay.
Always. My fiance won't ever admit to me when I've done something to annoy or upset him.
Okay.
Instead, he just gives me the silent treatment.
Oh.
He doesn't talk to me, gives me short answers, or if we fall out, he'll never say sorry. If they have a fight, he'll never say sorry. He just doesn't want to see his fault in things. So we got multiple stuff going on here. So let me take this first. So what you're describing is using silence as a weapon. And silence is a very powerful weapon.
This dude's smart, people. Did you know that? Like, this is really smart. Silence is a weapon. Tell me more.
Well, it's really powerful because somebody's going to want to talk it out. And somebody else is going to want to say, no, I don't want to talk it out because I don't have to. You can't make me. So they end up right by default because they won't work through the issue. So what you're describing, the silent treatment,
sucks.
It's bullshit, right? So my advice to you is to call game over on him for that shit. Either he can talk it out at some level, right? I mean,
yeah.
Some people say, I don't know how long your relationship's been, but some people say never go to bed angry.
It's a hard one, people.
I disagree.
I do too. Sometimes you gotta sleep on that shit.
Absolutely. Now, I'm against...
On the couch.
Well, maybe.
Or at a hotel. Been there.
Yeah, in a long-term relationship, my advice for married couples has always been sometimes you do go to bed bad.
Yeah, and it sucks, but sometimes you gotta just go there. Yeah.
But it's better to... So that's mutual silence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with this, he's just purposely going out of his way not to talk.
Boo.
So my advice to you is to get into a real conversation with this guy and talk about how he's not allowed to do that. You need some ground rules on how to fight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because to be in a relationship, you got to talk about stuff, and that silent treatment will eat you up.
Well, and it opens up the conversation, though, around ground rules for arguing and fighting. So many people don't do that.
Be fair.
Yeah, be fair and be straight up. You know, I mean, those ground rules. You don't call names. You don't. You try not to, right? I mean, things happen. But you have to have some ground rules on how to fight, because fights are inevitable.
Yeah. Well, arguments are inevitable.
Well, arguments are inevitable.
So
Hopefully not. As for him not seeing his part in things, like, he just blames it all on her.
Yeah, it sounds like he needs to be right, and he's got a big old ego.
Yeah, and it
that
does.
ego, and the ego is getting in the way of the relationship, from what I can tell.
Totally. Well, so I guess my advice to her would be that nobody's 100% right in any of their situations when it comes to arguments.
No.
Okay?
And that's not the point.
Yeah,
the
not at
point
all.
is not to be right. It's like to be heard and to work it out.
He can either be right or he can be happy. Tell him to
I
choose.
vote for happy.
Tell him to choose.
Just me.
If you have a question,
Yep.
head over to facebook.com/thegameovershow and hit the message button, and we'll get it here. We'll read it live on the air. If we read it live on the air, then not only will we read it and you'll be featured on the show, you'll also get the answer. That's what we're going to send you, is the answer. Lisa was going to say send a t-shirt, but, whatever. We're slipping away.
Whatevs. So, and if we've answered your advice and you want to give us a follow-up and let us know how it's going, we always like to hear that as well. What are you laughing at?
Me, actually,
Okay.
at this
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And that's been our show. Join us tomorrow. What are
Yep.
we talking about tomorrow? It's a surprise. Definitely Merkins.
I gotta go Google.
Until tomorrow, I'm Charles Gerlando.
That makes me Lisa Stedman.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.